Please welcome Sal Pizarro from the San Jose Mercury News.
Okay, so like a lot of you, man, I met Tom. I met Tom having lunch with Joe at Scott's Seafood. That was it was like such a Joe thing. He's like, we were having lunch, and he said, hey, I invited Tom. Is that okay? I'm like, sure, I don't know, but why not? I don't actually remember the first time I met Joe Noonan. What I do know is it was in downtown San Jose, because as everyone else has pointed out, Joe was downtown. He was downtown San Jose. And I loved him for that, because I wanted to be like Joe Noonan. I wanted to be the guy that people would say, oh yeah, I was at that thing. Joe Noonan was there. I wanted them to say that about me when I was starting out in this job. And Joe had such an optimism about this place that it was infectious. And I could see him. My favorite picture of him, people talked about the carrot, him dressing up as a carrot. I loved him as the banana. To me, Joe as the banana was the Joe Noonan I will always think of. But personally, what meant the most to me about Joe was just how much he cared about people. I loved Joe, but Joe loved my wife Amy. He brightened whenever Amy was around. He loved seeing my kids, Alex and Mia. We went to go visit him and his dad when he and his dad were living together, and he just loved talking to all of us. And that's the kind of guy Joe was. He was just so open and willing to just interface with anyone and talk to people about whatever their interest was. You know, I didn't honestly know that Joe was a Grateful Dead fan until pretty late on, because he never talked about himself. He never talked about things he loved. He wanted to talk about the things you loved. So one story I've got to tell is that a picture circulated after Joe's passing of me behind him with a bow tie. And that is one of my favorite memories of Joe Noonan, because it so encapsulates who he was. This was the Creative Awards that were being held at the California Theater. And Joe dressed up for him, and he had a bow tie, and he didn't know how to tie it. And he asked me, because he said, well, you dress up all the time. You go to these things. Can you tie this bow tie? And I swear we stood there for about 5 minutes with me in front of him, me trying to tie it, but I'd only put them on myself. And finally I said, Joe, this is going to be weird, but I'm going to get behind you. And I got behind him, and I'm twisting around, and I'm closing, doing this, and I'm like, okay. And it wasn't until I was done that I realized 3 people were standing around taking pictures. But Joe looked great, and he always looked great from the beginning and to the end. Joe was downtown. Joe was my friend. Joe was somebody that I'm honestly going to remember and going to love all the days I live in this city. And there's never a time that I'm going to see that San Jose that I carry on the back of my phone and a lot of you have on your chest and not think of Joe Noonan. This is San Jose.